Hey, everybody. Today's podcast is going to be so good. We are with the beautiful Zena, and she is in her 60s. And I met her at an event I hosted with Lou Corona the other night. She has been raw for over 30 years. Raw food, raw vegan. She's thriving. Her body is snatched. It's ripped. She looks incredible. She has such good aura, and she looks so healthy. So we're going to find out the secrets. We want to live like this when we're in our 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, right? That's what this channel is all about. So let's hop into it. Hey, how's it going?
So good. And I'm so happy that we got to meet with one another. You are the first person that I started following on Instagram in the health and wellness world.
Wow.
So, and just so ironic that I just started following you a month ago and then to actually meet you at an event. So I am just so excited.
Yay, it's like divine timing. It's like
Absolutely,
meant to be. And now you're here with us. And
yes.
thanks for taking the time to come. And yeah, you really stood out to me at the event the other night because I was speaking and then you were saying something and you mentioned being long-term raw and you just look so healthy. You radiate health. So to get into this lifestyle like 31 years ago or whatever it was, like that's rare. Not many people were turning to raw food. Like what decade was that? Even the 90s, right?
Yes.
So take us through what
90s.
happened.
Yeah. So I mean, like many people today that you're hearing that are in the raw world, if you will, or in the wellness world. I try to say wellness because we just want to be well. I came through that door of sickness like a lot of people. And I had chronic issues with digestive issues, the norm for Westerners.
Yeah.
You know, headaches all the time. I come from a family of heart disease. And so I was going to the doctors every, 2 or 3 years to get a Holter monitor put on my heart because I was having heart palpitations. My heart would skip a beat.
In your 30s?
No, this was like 20s and 30s.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so I just wasn't well. And then I actually started getting migraines. And I had chronic migraines for 10 years. And I mean to the point of losing my eyesight when I would have them. So I would go and get on narcotics and to try to really, it didn't make my headaches go away. I was just so lit up. I didn't care that I had a splitting headache. And so eventually I got to a point to where I was just like, it's not going well.
No.
And so I'm a Christian. And so I was praying, God heal me like everybody else does when they're, not well. And so I kept praying and I wasn't getting better. And my husband brought a book home to me about a woman that had cancer. And by changing her diet and lifestyle, the cancer without chemo, radiation, surgery, any of that by the Western modalities, her tumor went away.
Wow.
And I looked at my husband when I was reading the back of it and I'm like, I don't have cancer. I'm sick all the time. And he's like, just read the book. And it was a short read. And so in the book, she was saying that she didn't eat meat anymore and she was eating primarily plant-based and doing juicing, which juicing back then wasn't really popular or anything.
No.
And so I made the decision that after reading that book that I was going to stop eating meat. So that was that first step that I took over 30 years ago. And I started, at that time I had 3 young kids and I started going into what would raw food, plant-based look like. And back then they didn't have, we didn't have the World Wide Web. We didn't have to work. Nowadays
right?
you can get anything. I mean, you can just Google anything, the Google Oyster is your education platform today.
Yeah.
But I started reading books. I started going to seminars and I started following this guy by the name of Reverend Malcolmus. And he has this thing called the Hallelujah Diet. And it was like an 80-20 where you eat all 80% raw living foods and then do a juicing protocol. And so I just basically started following his protocol. And I kid you not, within 3 months, all of my health issues went away.
Wow.
Not only did they go away, within 6 months, my hair started growing, my nails were growing, my eyes turned greener. I literally just felt younger. And I've stayed with it ever since.
Is that why? Because why would you be the main reason you've stayed with it?
Well, because you're living.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what it is. And so, when I was asking for that miracle years ago, if I would have just got the miracle, I would have kept on carrying on with the standard American diet, not eating well, not taking care of myself, staying in mental health crisis and all that stuff. But I didn't. I literally got the miracle by knowledge. That's really where it was, a miracle word of knowledge. And I have continued to educate myself and live it, practice what I preach, if you will. And little did I know that it would become not only my lifestyle, but it would become my living. So I have been helping people for almost 30 years.
And you're thriving.
And I mean, it's so amazing that you can be so ill one day and your mind is so focused on one particular area, and with one word can change your life. That's why, like what you're doing, when I saw your, when I started, my daughter actually said, Mom, because I do have a social media platform, but I had a tragic loss in my family, which brought me back to America, and had this tragic loss in my family. And I stopped social media. I stopped everything because I was focused on my family. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try to rebuild my platform again, because I was living in Southeast Asia for 15 years. So I was doing wellness retreats. People were coming to me from all over the world to have like a weekend exposure to fun and fitness, or come and do a 3-month live-in program where I literally help them to transform their lives. And so when I came back here to America, my daughter's like, Mom, if you're going to start social media again and you're going to start doing that platform, you need to just find someone to follow and just, get your ideas and get, get bolstered up. And you were the one.
Oh, I love that. Wow.
So I'm like, and then I get to meet you literally less than a month later.
Yes. You're so amazing. And do you think, like, if you hadn't prayed, do you think we have to ask? That's what I'm learning from some of the people I interview lately. Do you think had you not prayed, like looking for the healing, looking for the answer, maybe you wouldn't have found this path? Do you think it's important we ask like God in the universe that we ask God, and pray to God, and maybe we won't get those answers if we don't do that?
Well, I mean, the Bible clearly says if you don't ask, you don't receive. So it says, ask and you shall receive. And I think a lot of times, because we are looking at my programming for people and the way that I serve people is 100% holistically, spirit, soul, and body. Here we are as a creation. Most of us believe that we're created. So why are we going to the created things when we can go to the Creator himself and ask, hey, if I am made in your image, how am I supposed to live? And the Bible is chock full of answers on not only to have a lifestyle modification to change your mind, he wants to change the whole of us. And so I've been living in that. I'm currently in the process of writing a book. It's mainly written to believers, those that have faith, right? And it's going to be called He Cares for You. The whole of you, spirit, soul, and body. That. And I've spent 2 years just studying all the scriptures in the Bible to find out every single thing that God himself or his disciples, or maybe what Jesus said about not only the physiological part of who we are, but also the spiritual, psychological part of who we are, and how we can thrive in that. He started existence in a garden. So let's go back to the garden, y'all.
Let's go back to the garden. Let's go back to those apples. Yes. And when you pray, do you think it's important to pray from a state of thanksgiving, like it's already happened? Or do you think we can sometimes just be like, please help me with this?
I mean, again, if we're looking, for me as a Christian, it says, pray to those things that are not as if they are. Yes, I mean, I think that we can. I mean, every day when I wake up, the first thoughts that go in my mind is that thought of Thanksgiving. And when I'm out running, like this morning, I ran out and did a 3-mile run, right? And I'm running, and it's like, that's my space that I can just feel like I'm alive and I'm vital. And it gives me a sensitivity to the world around me as well. It gives me love and compassion for the world around me, because I was a beggar at one time in my life too. So I'm like a beggar telling other beggars, hey, here's where the bread of life is. You were made to be vital. You were made to be well. We're not supposed to be walking around with diseased bodies, diseased thinking. Because disease is what? Dis-ease. So now in the West, we have these mental health crises or whatever that are really prominent. So in my work with people, one of the main things we focus on is really renewing the mind.
That's important. And did you notice a massive shift when you changed your lifestyle from a more, because I'm assuming how it was more standard American diet before, right?
Oh, it was 100%.
When you shifted your diet from standard American diet to the raw food diet, like I noticed that a huge difference in my mindset, my happiness, my mental health so that was the case for you. And have you remained fairly happy all these years?
Yes. I mean, I wouldn't use the word happy, because happy is kind of continuous on happenings, but I've remained joyous. I mean, even going through this hard loss in my life a couple of years ago, even though it was very traumatic and it was unexpected, I had joy. I had peace, and I can navigate through that. Another thing too is when you do make a lifestyle change towards, if we're looking at just the food, right? If you make that lifestyle change. We are ourselves, our cells. And so when you're feeding your selves, you're giving yourself life. And so when you have life, then you have that abundance. You're able to navigate. I became a brain health coach as well. So your brain, it's one of the most important organs in your body, and very few of us think about brain health.
True.
We think about heart health. We think about making sure we don't get diabetes and all of these other things, but we don't think about how do we actually serve the brain itself? How do we feed the brain so the brain can function as it was designed to do? So yeah, 100%. Your mind and your the way that you feel and the joy and the happiness that you have in your life is based on life. I mean, when you don't feel good, you don't feel good.
Yeah.
Right? You don't feel good emotionally
and
either.
You feel like with your mind and your brain cleaner and everything on the raw foods and feeling happier and more joyful, you feel more connected to God too on this lifestyle than you did before, or no? Do you feel like it's the same?
I wouldn't say that I feel more connected to him. I would just say, like with any relationship, it's continued to grow. I mean, I've been walking with God for, 36 years. So, and walking in wellness for, a bit over 30 years. So
I love that.
Yeah.
And when you transitioned to raw, what were you eating to experience all this rapid healing for you?
First thing was I eliminated the meat. That in itself did show, because I always had this like hypertense feeling. I was always really hyperactive.
Yeah.
And so removing the meat, that removed that anxiousness that I had.
Wow, because it's like stimulating because the hormones and stuff.
I'm sure that. Yeah,
wow,
I'm sure
I've
that
heard
that's
other
what it
people
was.
say that. Interesting.
Yeah. Now that's for me. I mean, now you can even see we're getting more to where it's bolstered up that you eat only range free and all of that. Get away from all of these hormones, growth hormones and steroids and all the antibiotics, all the fillers that they're feeding the meat, the animals anyway. And again, a lot of people know that why would we go secondhand when I can go firsthand and get what the animal eats? I'll just go eat that myself, right?
Yeah, true.
So, again, and it is gaining knowledge and then trying it, because also our bodies are bio-individual. What works for one person doesn't necessarily 100% work for the other. That's why when I'm working with people, it's really a grace-filled work, because what I do may not be exactly what you want to do.
True.
So I give people the liberty to just explore within themselves, because you will find that happy place for yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did you do though? If anyone's wondering,
Yes,
and like,
thank
what
you.
did you know to do? Because some people get into raw food and they're just like, I don't know what to do. So
Yes.
what did you do then? And how are you eating now? Because you look really good. I want to
Thank
know how
you.
you're eating now.
Thank you. Yeah. So, again, this Hallelujah diet, this gentleman that started this Hallelujah diet that also had cancer, became healed by just going fully raw. I started following the protocol. So what I did is I started by really kind of purifying one meal at a time. My favorite meal of the day is and still is breakfast, even though I don't really eat breakfast anymore, but it's still my favorite meal. So I started purifying breakfast. So in the morning, what I would do is I would just eat like 2 apples and maybe a banana. So I was eating 100% raw food. And then about either an hour before or 2 hours afterwards, I would drink myself a carrot juice, kind of like what you see right here. I would drink a juice.
Yeah.
And, and that would be my meal for the morning.
Juice is so good. I love juice.
Yes, I have been faithful to a juicing protocol. It is my regime. I juice 5 to 6 days every day of my life. Even when I'm traveling, I always know where to find the juicery, that type of thing. Or I'll bring my juicer with me.
Yeah.
When COVID happened, and I was in Malaysia at the time, got locked down, before they actually shut us in, I went out and bought a juicer.
Good.
So juicing was what I've done. And then basically, I just started looking for books and stuff, which there wasn't a lot then. Now you can just get anything online. But again, if it's alive, you can eat it. So I started just creating different menus and different types of food combinations or whatever, so much so that I became a raw food chef. I opened up my raw food cafe in Thailand.
No way.
And
Wow.
I mean,
Cool.
I've just done it all. I think firsthand, I was explorative myself. And so just knowing that you can go to the garden, and then I got, educated about, where you're going to get your proteins from and where you're going to get all of your essential amino acids, all the vitamins, nutrients, minerals, and the like. And once I understood where that came from, then I would go and find out, okay, where are these higher sources from?
Yeah. So like, why are you thriving? Where do you get all that from? You know, like for so many years, because this is, have you not had any animal products in 30 years?
I have not had any no meat in 30 years. I do primarily, I still do stick kind of to the 80-20.
Yeah.
And then I'll do, I like to play. I'm very excitable person in that sense. I'm very curious. So I'll play with like going fully raw for a month, or I'll do like just doing what they call nowadays, they call it the intermittent fasting. The terminologies have changed. Like, a lot of times, like I had never considered myself to be a vegan.
Yeah.
But the terminology now is that you're a vegan. I'm like, oh, okay. I always just say that I really like to make sure that I put in my body nutritious food. Put in my body and on my body, no toxins. What is the equation of health? Nutrients minus toxins equals health. And so that's kind of been my whole life protocol.
Wow, amazing. And do you supplement at all, like B12 or like anything, or no?
I do not.
Wow.
Yes, and I know that again, and let me just address B12 because, we didn't even know 25 years ago what B12 was. And so I think this is probably where my faith lies. If everything that we need is in the garden, then there's probably things that are in what I'm eating that we have yet to discover. Because in reference to like the science behind nutrition, it's still very elementary.
True. Right?
So we've got so much to learn still. And so for me, part of it is just my faith. I just believe that if you said it, then I'm gonna follow it, and it has proven itself to be true for me. I'll be 61 probably by the time this may come out, and my kids are all grown adults, and they always give me a hard time and say, "Mommy, you're probably going to be taking care of us when we get older," because I'm just so alive.
Yeah, and what are maybe some of the greatest things you've learned in your health journey?
I think probably the greatest thing that I have learned about being well is that I have been created to be well. I mean well holistically, not just my physical body, because this body will perish and I will age. And another thing I think that I've really learned too is that it's okay to age and to get gray hair and to get wrinkles and to have my skin to begin to sag. That's part of our existence. I am not on this journey to try to be young. I am on this life journey to be well and to take people along with me on the ride.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you do look young. You do.
I think that's a byproduct.
It is. You look young, but what's more important is like you feel great, right? You have the energy. Like, how's your energy all day long? Do you feel like you need naps? Do you feel like you crash? No, I can tell your energy is like that of like a 15-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, like I went and, again, because you do age and you do go through the process of aging. And when I went through the menopausal stage, I went to the doctor because I literally have not taken in as much as an aspirin in over 30 years of my life. I mean, literally no medication at all. And so I go to the doctor and he's like, okay, we're going to do a stress test or whatever. And so we get on the treadmill and I'm running, and he brings in another nurse and I'm running and I'm talking to him. He brings in another nurse and he goes, you really are. Like, really, your body says you're really young. And this is in Thailand too. So it was really cute because the nurses are so cute and stuff. So, I mean, I
wonder what your sorry to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
I wonder what your biological age is. Have you done that? I went to do that test yesterday. Have you heard of these tests?
I have heard of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It said I was 15.
Very good. You're so cute.
I'm just messing around. I don't get the results for a month. I don't know. It could go either way. I have 2 kids and I could be 86 or I could be 30. I feel really good though. I feel amazing. And that's what's most important, right? That we feel good.
Well, if you feel good, you are good.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think too, it's like, I know that I'm an older person. I know that in my mind that on a number scale, I'm an older person. But in my physicality, I mean, to be honest with you, they call this group of people kind of like non-sleepers. I have been a non-sleeper for a very long time. There are people that sleep on an average about 5 hours. And a lot of actually very successful people only sleep between 4 to 6 hours max. And they're just have a really high intellect. Now, I wouldn't say I have a high intellect. I wouldn't, I'm not I'm not into like education and stuff like that. I'm into life. But I just now, as I hit my 60s just this year, now I'm sleeping about 7 hours. And when I get up in the morning, first thing I do is I slam a ginger pow. I created a ebook with my 17 faves of juicing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have a raw ebook that's my 17 faves of raw cuisine.
Good.
So I get up, take my ginger pow, start my morning, and then within 30 minutes of that, I'll go. Before I ever get out of bed, I open up all the joints in my body. Before I ever even get out of bed, I do a really long stretch out, and then I'll open my joints up, get up, do my ginger pow with one eye open, just get up. And then within 30 minutes, I'm out working out and just starting my day. And then I'll start seeing clients sometime around 9 or 10 in the morning. And then, I do meal prep for myself and others. Other people hire me to help their lives. And so I will help them with their personal things because they're business people or whatever. And I'm helping them on the journey to transition your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I'm vital.
And then how do you eat now? I don't think we said that. What's like a typical day? Like what's today look like for the menu?
Yeah. So today for me, first thing, took my ginger pow, and then I don't know what time it is right now, a little after 10 in the morning. And then I will drink a juice. And then if I am hungry, then I'll make maybe some overnight oats like everybody else does. Or I'll just, if I'm hungry, I'll eat a banana. To be honest with you, I'm not really hungry until between like 11 and 1.
Me too.
Yeah. And then that is my largest meal of the day. So I may just make, like a quinoa salad. I make raw tacos. I make like raw sushis. Yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit for me.
It is.
Yeah.
With the plant foods, and it's exciting. You're not missing out, You don't do you miss the old lifestyle?
Oh, no.
Any tips for like staying on track with it? Because a lot of people want to commit and the foods are so addictive that we're used to, right?
They are addictive. And my addiction, if you could say I have one, it would be I was very bent towards sugar. And so one of the things that I've learned to do, and I love this, is I have created so many wonderful sweet recipes that are 100% fully nutritious, fully raw. So I make cheesecakes, I make the energy balls, I make Reese's peanut butter cups, Snickers. I literally just made an ice cream sandwich made out of raw oats and nice cream, if you will, out of bananas, and so fresh vanilla. And like when people eat my stuff, they're like, what am I doing? I'm like, this is possible. So I teach everybody. So my encouragement to somebody would be, take it one day at a time and remember this principle. When you look at something, are you alive or are you dead? If you're alive, you bring me life. If you're dead, you bring me death. I mean, It's a pretty simple, I live out of bumper stickers and t-shirts. There's like these little things that I model my life by.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and find your yes people. Find the people, they may not do it, but they're going to encourage you. They're never going to make fun of you or put you down. When I first started into this world, because nobody was doing it, everybody thought I was different. They're like, what are you doing? But now those same very people are the ones that I've been able to help to serve.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh my goodness. You're so inspiring. I love it.
Thank you.
And okay, I'm looking at your hair too. Like your hair looks gorgeous. A lot of vegans think like my hair might fall out or things like that. So any secrets to the great hair? And like I said, you're really fit. So do you think it's important that that's a really big part of it too, right? It's not just the food, especially as we get older. It's important we focus on our fitness.
I would say that there's 7 pillars. I created a program called the I Am Woman program, and it's 7 pillars. And those 7 pillars are the most essential things that I believe that as a human being, we have to have. We're sitting here having a conversation right now about food and fitness. While we're doing this, the whole while, we are leaning on the number one need of our bodies. And what do you think that is? We have to have it. If we don't have it, we're going to die.
With our body? Hydration, water?
Yeah, that's number 2.
Yeah.
The number 1 is we need oxygen.
Oh, yeah.
So the first thing we need is oxygenation. So I oxygenate my body every morning by going out, and I do this little movements to really get full, deep breaths in. And so number 1 is air. We have to have it. Second is water, because we are 70 to 80% water. That's all we are. We're a bunch of little water bubbles running around, right? And then there's food, then there's fitness, then there's sunlight, rest, and that's physiologically as well as psycho-emotionally. And then last is relationships. We need one another. I believe we were designed to be interdependent upon one another. Because I mean, like when you met me, you're like, oh man, I feel your, and when I saw you online and decided to follow you, I'm like, man, I feel that girl.
Yeah.
Here we are thousands of miles away from each other because you're from Canada, right?
Yeah.
Right. And here I am in America, and I'm like, oh, I feel that girl. We put off energies, right? And so yes, we absolutely need those 7 principles when we're looking at fitness, because we were designed to move. That's why we eat, is to support movement. In our societies today, we are much more sedentary. So if somebody's out there, they work for a living, that's their exercise. That can be enough for them. Right. But for those of us that are, office workers and that type of thing, and we're sitting on the couches all the time, we need to have physical movement. We also need to be able to pump the heart organ. So you need something that is going to be a little bit brisk as well, because that's what helps to support oxygenation throughout the body, which is aerating the body, which is transferring nutrients as well as taking out toxicities. And then there's a cycle. So yeah, absolutely. The food's not everything. The fitness isn't everything either. It is a holistic approach. Once you start on it, you may start with one area. When I'm working with my clients, I talk about the wheel of life, and we look at everything, because you might be completely fit and you look good. Like I'll go, ooh, girl, you look good. But then you go home and you're not well. Your relationships are suffering, and psychologically and emotionally you're bound. And that's why people lean towards drugs and alcoholism and, going out and getting into situations that they end up regretting at the end of the day. So
see, we want all the areas good.
100%. Just look at the whole of who you are. There's a lot to who you are.
And we can have that, right? We can have thriving relationships, thriving health, thriving fitness, all the areas checked off, right?
Yeah, it becomes to where, although like when people see me, they're like, gosh, you're so happy, you're so vital. Although I live my life out loud in a very happy way, I'm actually a really serious person. I'm very introspective. I'm constantly in a sober state of mind and really looking at where the value of my life is really at and the value of other people. And because of that, then I can live freely. But because I take a cold, hard look at myself every day.
Yeah. And I feel like our thoughts matter so much. And I feel like as we get older, a lot of things can happen. We have a lot of reason to hold on to things like get angry, bitter, divorce, certain things that can happen with kids or life or money or career or anything. Yeah. And so I feel like you're not holding on to anything. Like I just don't see like the anger or bitterness. Do you have any advice for people? Because that's really important. I feel like that can age us a lot, right? I was talking to one of my friends last night who's a fellow raw foodist, and he looks really good for his age. And he was saying, somebody was like, well, why don't I look as good at your age? I'm raw too. I've been raw a long time. I'm mad about it. What's going on? And apparently she was really angry and bitter at somebody and somebody else and like not letting things go and holding on to things. So I think that can really age us, right? So how can we just like let things go?
Yeah, I mean, it even talks about in the Bible that when you are so angry that your blood, and again, I'm kind of paraphrasing, that your blood boils. Physiologically, your metabolical internal system changes when you're holding on to bitterness and resentment. Thank God the science is kind of backing up what's been around forever. So we're seeing now that people that have cancer and diseased bodies, they'll go back and find out where that trauma was, where that bitterness started to root inside of them, and those things they have to address. So yes, we absolutely need to kind of, here's the roadmap. That roadmap is confession. Go and confess to somebody. And if that's either with somebody that it happened with and you need to just have that conversation, maybe you do need to go and get into some counseling. I've been a life coach for many years. People come and confess things to me because if you confess, you can be healed. And so yeah, we've got to tell one another, and don't keep that stuff locked inside, because it literally will. And here's the sad thing is it's eating you.
Have you done any like cleansing over the years?
I guess I did do colonics one time in Thailand, and that was a wonderful experience. But in reference to, again, the terminology that people use, I'm still being out of the country for so long. The language here has changed quite a bit for me. So if I understand what you're saying by cleansing.
I mean, like any juice fasting or any water fasting or like anything that you feel like has helped your journey, or just eating the plant foods.
Yeah, I mean, just eating raw, just going raw. Like, when I am eating like vegetarian cooked foods or whatever, like I said, I'll go the next month and only do raw for a whole month, right? Because it's a consistent for me. I juice every day. I don't juice sometimes. I juice every day. I'm drinking at least minimum 3 juices a day in between, my schedule, right? Another thing too, I wanted to say in reference to cleansing, a lot of times we feel like we have to super nutrify our bodies. Your body is designed to look a particular way. Yours will look yours, mine will look mine. I only eat about 1.5 meals a day if we're talking about sit-down meal, because I'm super nutrifying in the sense of drinking the juices, because they are so nutrient dense and they go right into the bloodstream. My digestion is not being taxed all the time. And then when I am eating food, there's not a ton of work that I'm having to do, because it's not like it's the gut's like saying, oh my gosh, why do you keep overloading me? And I'm eating very highly digestible foods as well. So yeah, so for cleansing, my body is cleansed.
Yeah, it looks cleansed.
I mean, that's so,
and I wonder where you would be right now, if you didn't take this on.
Oh, probably, to be honest with you, I think I might be dead,
Yeah.
because my illnesses were so chronic, and I would probably not. Yeah, I lost a little sister. My sister died of disease. My parents died at a young age. All of my family is obese. So, and everyone called me the black sheep. But the reality was I wasn't the black sheep. I just made changes. I went a different route. I love them. They're wonderful people.
Of course.
And, and that's another thing is just, being gracious with the world around you, because not everybody's going to follow this path, and that's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. But for me, this is the life that I feel I've been led to, and it has proven itself to be very beneficial.
It's amazing for you. And see, it's not all genetics, right? Because some people think it's all genetics when they see somebody thriving like you.
Yeah, no. And again, I think that's very largely a misconception. Even when we're getting like labs done, on my labs, it says that I'm iron deficient. And I'm like, well, where do you get your lab stats by? And that's basically going off a broad spectrum of American bodies.
I know.
And so, just like when they're like, oh, what size clothes do you wear? Well, our size of clothing used to be a size 4, is now considered the size 2. So they dummy things down. And then we look at our pyramid, the food pyramid.
True.
That food pyramid has changed 4 times. Right. So, we have, again, you got to dig. You've got to dig, because the answers are there. Remember, we've got the medical world, and we've got the wellness world, and even within these 2 industries, if you will, there can be some misconceptions. But don't let that stop you. Don't let that stop you from going out and try stuff. Make a food journal. Put yourself on a time management schedule. All of my clients have a lifestyle calendar. To where they said, how do you want to live your life? How does your life look right now? And they write everything down. What do you want it to look like? And then they write that down. I go, that's who you're wanting to be. That's your inner girl. That's your inner man wanting to come out. And so we start working towards that girl or that man, right? So this is my body. I only get one of them. It's my responsibility.
True.
100%.
No one else is.
Nobody
right?
else is going to do it for me.
No.
Yeah. So
I'm just
so
live our
grateful.
best life. And these plant foods, they really do help a lot of us live our best life, right?
Yes. And again, finding a community I think is really helpful too. Not getting caught up that, the disparities within like organics, non-organics, getting into like how to take care of yourself, not take care of yourself. Just try things. Keep trying. because then you'll land on those things that really work for you. And as you find that those things work for you, they will become a part of your lifestyle. And then you go and try something else. And then ultimately, like for me, like in reference to the fitness side, I love doing all kinds of physical things. This morning I went out running. This weekend I'll go out salsa dancing on the beach.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
I trained in Muay Thai for 30 years. Right? So I box, I run, I love to dance, right? I love a lot of mobility work, do a lot of mobility work, right? I enjoy swimming. So it's just finding stuff. I just took up roller skating.
I love that. That's awesome.
I just took up roller skating, and yeah, I'm having fun with that.
Do you know Dr. Elizabeth or no? Dr. Elizabeth Lambert?
I do not.
Oh, she's in her 60s. She's long-term raw vegan, and she's here.
Oh, yes.
Is
she a brunette?
Of salsa dancing. Yeah.
Yes. I just, again, because I'm down in this area, I don't know if it's just the algorithms or whatever, but
I'm
stuff is
close
popping
friends
up.
with her.
I
She's
saw.
amazing.
She's so cute.
Too. She's so cute. You
and
guys
she
would
roller
be good
skates.
friends. Yeah, she roller skates.
Yes.
She salsa dances. She's amazing. You guys are a lot alike.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
you guys
so cute.
Would hit it off. So yeah, I'm interviewing her tomorrow. So subscribe for that, you guys. Stay tuned for that. That's going to be good too. But no, and she's all about clearing energy from our body, clearing like, you know, the negative energy and the blockages, because they can really affect our life too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but no, this has been amazing. Anything else you feel like you want to touch on with our audience, or any closing words, any words of inspiration, anything at all that comes to mind, or if not, that's okay too. And where can everyone find you so they can go follow you? And I'll link your ebooks, everything you have down below as well.
Wonderful. Well, you can find me at Life Coach Zena. And I'd love to meet you. But I think if I could say a farewell to you, is that keep watching Gillian for starters, because I mean, you're on a fantastic journey. And the thing that's so good about what you're doing, Gillian, is you are going out and actually talking to the people, because we are it, right? So you hearing our stories and why we came into this place of being is so essential, and God bless you in what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I would say, keep following this beautiful girl, but sit down, get a pen and paper and write down, if I could be exactly who I wanted to be today, and I mean, no holds bar, I could be that person. Who would that be? Write it down. It might be 3 things. It might be 20 things. And then take one of those things on that list and start researching it, start going out and finding people that are doing it, and then just start getting up each day and just taking one step towards that. I guarantee you will land on being who you were designed to be, one step at a time.
That's beautiful, Zena. Wow, you're so powerful and so inspiring. Wow, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for taking the time to come here. And the beautiful juices you brought me. I can't wait to have those.
Yes.
And let everyone know where they can find you. And again, I'll link it all below. Or you did say, right?
I did. Yeah.
Sorry, you did. You did. Well, this has been amazing. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
You're so awesome. I'm so happy we met.
Yes,
and
me
everybody
too.
go follow Zena and subscribe to the channel. I love you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.